Joining me now is Robert Hardman. He's a journalist and author of Making of a King. Robert Hardman, welcome on board. Now, very worrying, the diagnosis of cancer. What do we know for sure?
Well, we know at this stage that the King went into hospital for a procedure on an enlarged prostate a few days ago, and that he's now come out from that, and he's received a diagnosis of cancer, not prostate cancer. We don't know what form of cancer. We know it's not prostate cancer, and that he's now undergoing treatment, that he's in good spirits, that he's still working, but he's having to cancel his public engagements because he can't be out and about in public. His doctors want to keep him away from large crowds, from a possible infection. So he's doing the, if you like, the sort of the desk work, but not the public work while he undergoes treatment.
Now, what do you make of them saying that the cancer was caught in the early stages? Do you believe them?
Yeah, I think on things like this, there's not going to be any kind of obfuscation. I mean, the Prime Minister has said today that that's his understanding, that it's in the stages. He's made it clear that he is not bringing in any of the sort of the machinery, if you like, which exists if a monarch is ill or incapacitated. There are time-honoured laws governing things like councillors of state, regencies. None of that applies. We've got a king who's undergoing outpatient treatment and who's determined to get on with the job as much as he can. That's all we know for now.
Because he was very wise in changing a little bit of legislation to make sure that he could include others so they could take over if he were incapacitated in any way. And he's very polite to not kind of humiliate Harry or Andrew. Do you think that there is still a major role for a monarch in this country? Because a lot of people will be looking at it and thinking the royal family is getting smaller. Is there still a role for the royal family in this country?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think the vast majority of people are happy to have a constitutional monarchy, as are a number of other progressive liberal democracies, around the world. It's a system of government. It may be irrational. I mean, I think if you were starting a new nation tomorrow, you probably wouldn't say, right, we're going to get one family and put them in charge. But it's a system that has worked for many centuries for Britain. It's one of the reasons that a lot of people ascribe the sort of sense of stability, continuity, and this is a king who is head of state of 14 other countries, so it's not just Britain who'll be worrying about him today, but ultimately it's a democracy, so it's not down to the monarch, it's down to the people, and the people certainly in today's Britain are perfectly happy with a monarchy.
Was he wise to slim down the monarchy in such a manner? Now we've got to see how vulnerable they actually are. Obviously with Catherine out of action, the king having to take his duties down somewhat. What's your view?
Well, I don't think he went about slimming down the monarchy. I think it just slimmed down itself, with the passage of time. Obviously Prince Andrew had to step back from public life, and that was followed in very short order by the decision of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to leave Britain and start a new life. So that automatically shrunk the royal front, the sort of front line, if you like. Over the years, you look back in history, there have been moments when there have been many sort of cousins on parade. There have been times when it has been quite a small unit. We're in the 21st century. The public don't expect to see lots of royal cousins out and about every day. They want to see a functional, useful royal family. And for now, other members of the family are going to have to step up. But royal business carries on. Today, the Princess Royal is out and about. The Queen will be out and about. Prince William's got an investiture tomorrow. When Princess of Wales, Kate, when she's back in action, she'll resume engagements. It has to adapt. If it doesn't adapt, then it's doomed. But it's always learned to adapt.
Now, listen. What would I'll be talking about this later, but I wanted to ask what your view was on, okay, there's Harry and Meghan, and obviously we don't really want to focus on what's happened between them and the family. But looking at it, as you know, Harry may look at it and see that Meghan wasn't really prepared to go and see her own father. Do you think that will bring some sort of additional strain on their relationship?
I've no idea. I mean, I'm no great expert on the internal workings of the Sussexes' marriage. I mean, I just know that Harry has always, despite all the dramas of recent years, he was a loving son, and whatever the issues that have existed, if you like, between Harry and Meghan and the institution of the royal family and the monarchy, that's one thing. But I mean, this is Harry and his dad. Dad's ill, and there's been loads of families. It's a time to sort of park what you might call lesser grievances and deal with the big stuff.
Well, that's what you'd think, but some don't seem to want to do that. Now, does he make a good king? You've written a book about it. In your view, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's been a very impressive king in a very short time. I mean, he was having to take over from the longest lived monarch in British history. That was a huge challenge. I mean, stepping into the shoes of Elizabeth II was always going to be a big ask. And I think at the time of that sort of transition, there were a lot of people saying, oh, well, these are dark days for the monarchy. Charles is he's going to veer off into politics. There's going to be constitutional problems. There's going to be problems with popularity. Actually, what we've seen is the monarchy doing what the monarchy does. As I said earlier, it's about stability, continuity. It's got on with it. I mean, British politics has been in quite a state. In the same week he became king, Liz Truss became prime minister. That didn't last long. But what I think is interesting is that in less than a year and a half of his reign, it's now fully appreciated, understood, acknowledged that he's the king that the monarchy just sort of ticks along. People have stopped talking about, the fact that there's a new king. It's just been understood until the news came out first about his enlarged prostate, and then this cancer diagnosis. The monarchy had gone back to being what the monarchy is best at being, which is boring, is getting on with the job, is being dutiful, is doing the stuff we want it to do. And that's where we were. And I think to get to that point in less than a year and a half was quite an achievement.
Robert Hardman, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.